While the Holocaust raged on, and Jews were murdered simply because of their religion, a few people, called righteous Gentiles, took the responsibility upon themselves to help. In December 1942, Zofia Kosak and Wanda Krahelska founded a secret rescue organization to house, feed, and medically treat the targeted Jews, going by the code name Zegota. By the time of Germany's defeat and the end of World War II in 1945, Zegota had helped thousands of Jews. This secret organization's long-term effects serviced the whole world by bringing religious genocide to attention and raising people against it.
On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler was assigned Chancellor of Germany, and almost immediately, the rights of the Jews were rapidly taken away. From 1933 to 1935, the supporters of Hitler's ideology, called Nazis, took away all freedom of speech and privacy during house searches of Jews and non-Jews. Soon after, Nazis across Europe brought a boycott to all Jewish businesses. Jewish civil and government workers were fired, and Jewish books were burned publicly. On April 25, 1933, a law was passed against overcrowding in schools. Jews were completely segregated and prohibited from participating in Aryan schools, activities, and sports. In 1935, the Nuremberg laws took away almost all civil rights for the Jews, including preventing them from marrying or having sexual relationships with the Germans. The Nuremberg laws simply institutionalized Nazi ideology. From 1936 to 1938, Jewish doctors and teachers were fired. Travel for Jews outside of the country was extremely restricted, only allowing travel for special purposes. All Jews were required to carry special ID cards, as well as wear the Star of David on their shirts and on an armband.
But this discrimination is only the beginning of what the Jews went. On the night of November 9th, and lasting until the morning of the 10th, the first large killing of the Jews occurred. Synagogues, businesses, and homes were looted and burned by Nazi soldiers. This night, called Kristallnacht, or Night of Broken Glass, begins the final solution in the murder of millions of Jews. On this night, many people are beaten, 90 are killed, and 30,000 men are put into concentration camps.
A few days after this night, Father Stanislaw Czechiak wrote in the Polish Catholic Daily that Jews should not elect or be elected to the Sejm, the Senate, and local government bodies. They should not be state or local government officials. They should not serve in the army. They should not be teachers in schools or universities. They should not be journalists or editors of newspapers intended for the Polish population. They should not purchase land or real estate.
While many people chose not to help their suffering Jewish neighbors, some people did. Many people, though not even close to enough, helped the Jews in one way or another. These people were called righteous Gentiles. They hid Jews in their homes, smuggled people and objects out of ghettos, helped endangered people find new identities, and adopted Jewish children. The reason that too many people chose not to help, even though they understood what was going on, was because they were scared. The order of October 15, 1941 stated, "All persons hiding Jews outside any ghetto will be punished by death." In addition to the terrifying punishment, it was even harder to help the Jews because it took more than one brave, righteous Gentile to help one Jew. Because it was hard to effectively help Jews on their own, underground associations of many people came together to save thousands of lives.
Born in 1890 to a Polish Catholic family, Zofia Kosak-Szuczka stood up against the Nazis. By 1941, she was co-founding the Catholic lay organization Front Orodzenia Polski, Front for Reborn Poland, and became editor of its newspaper, Prawda, meaning truth. Once the murder of the Jews started, Zofia began personally saving and hiding close Jewish friends and family. In the summer of 1942, after the liquidation of the Warsaw Ghetto, Zofia published a leaflet called Protest and printed 5,000 copies. It described the awful conditions of the ghetto and urged people to stand up and resist. Daily shipments of victims is 8 to 10,000. Jewish policemen are ordered to turn them into the hands of German executioners. If they do not, they will be killed. Children not able to walk by themselves are loaded onto carts. It is done in a manner so brutal that few who live take you to the ramp. Mothers looking at it go mad. The number insane with horror equal the amount shocked. Silence should not be tolerated. Whatever the reason, it is despicable. The crimes do not remain passive. Who is silent in the face of murder becomes a partner of the murderer. Who does not condemn, approves.
In December 1942, partly inspired by her leaflet, Zofia Kosak, along with Wanda Krahelska, founded an underground association called Zegota, meaning Council of Aid for Jews. It was made up of other Catholic Poles who disagreed and detested the extermination of the Jews. There were 6 different branches of Zegota: housing, medical, legalization, children, liaison, the AK, and finances. The housing branch of Zegota had shelters that provided food and sanitation for the Jews. This branch was constantly searching for homes for them, but the Jews stayed in the shelters until they could be moved. In the medical department, a network of doctors gave health care to the Jews. They risked their lives to treat contagious diseases such as typhus, which was raging in the ghettos. The legalization department of Zegota made fake identities for the Jews, portraying them as Catholic Polish citizens. They also produced documents that helped the members of Zegota escape routine identity checks. The Zegota Child Care branch smuggled children out of the ghettos. Most of these children were orphans, so they worked with the housing branch until new homes could be found for them. The liaison branch shopped for supplies and escorted Jews to shelters. Zegota also had a branch that connected with the AK. AK stands for the Polish words that mean Home Army. The AK Army was the army of the Polish resistance. Finally, financial support was provided through the financial department of Zegota, which got its sponsoring from the exiled Polish government and other secretive Jewish organizations. Zegota took on the responsibility to protect and ultimately save the Jews' unalienable right to live. It became one of the few rescue organizations that, despite many arrests, was never shut down. Zegota continued running until the end of 1945, the end of World War II, and the end of a history-changing era. Zegota was an extremely efficient and effective group in the Holocaust. In total, Zegota rescued, or at least gave a fighting chance to, 2,500 Jewish children and thousands of other Jewish adults. While righteous Gentiles were despised at the time, many members of Zegota, as well as other righteous Gentiles, totaling 700 people, were honored as righteous among the nations by the end of the war.
Much has changed since the Holocaust. In Poland now, there are laws that protect religious freedom. There's a fine equivalent to 1,667 American dollars for speaking hatefully about each other's religions. The Constitution guarantees that parents have the right to raise their children in the way of their own personal religious beliefs, and citizens have the right to sue the government if these rights are violated. In addition, memorials are scattered throughout Europe in the form of brass cobblestones on the street. These stones are engraved with the names of Holocaust victims. The laws protecting religious freedom, as well as the memorials, show that most of today's people regret what happened in the past. In a way, this represents people carrying on the ideas of Zegota and other righteous Gentiles, and even displays the long-term impact that these organizations have on the world.
Overall, Zegota was an extremely important group in history. Thanks to Zegota, innocent lives were saved, a message was sent to the rest of the world, and awareness was spread. If it wasn't for Zegota and other righteous citizens who took responsibility to stand up against a cruel authority, the brutality of the Holocaust might still be lasting today.